Hi beauties, it's Jean Piersanti with Beauty and the Stamper. It's time for another Technique Tuesday. So we're going to be doing some quick and easy watercolors, and I'm going to show you so simple how we can make 4 cards really quick. I'm going to be using the Forever Blossoms. We're going to be using this large stamp here, this little flower, the Always and Forever, and the All of Me Loves All of You. I've got a base of Blackberry Bliss. I also have some Whisper White Thick for the inside. And then I have a full sheet of Whisper White Thick. I do not have watercolor paper on this one, but you can use watercolor paper. But the reason being is I wanted to get a nice imprint, and this has some really detail in it that I thought would get lost on watercolor paper. So let's go ahead. We're going to go ahead and do what we always do, and we're going to burnish this part down. Sorry for the baby noise in the background. He's having a wild time. I'm just going to take my bone folder and got that taken care of. We'll figure this one out. That'll go on the inside, but we'll wait to do that while our watercolors are drying. The colors that I have, we've got some Rococo Rose, Highland Heather, Seaside Spray, and then Blackberry Bliss. Say that 5 times fast. So Blackberry Bliss, and that's also the color I have for the base if I didn't say that already. And I've got some water here, and I have just a brush. I only have one. I'm not worried about it. If I need more, I will grab more. And then I'm using some Post-it tape. You could also use, what you can use, I'm going right, I'm just eyeballing. And I'm going to go right down the center. And we're going to just tear that there. And I am going to burnish those down with my fingers, and then we're going to do the same going this way. I'm going to just turn it this way here, and again I'm just eyeballing it, trying to go for the center. There we go. And again burnishing that down. And then I'm also going to go along the edges here. I mean, you're going to be using this a lot. So you could also use painter's tape, because this might be a little bit of a more expensive option now that I'm thinking about it. But I know that it's not going to stick. And then I'm going to go here and do the same thing. And what I'm doing is I'm giving myself some borders. So that we can make 4 cards all at one time. I'm trying to make them as straight as possible, but remember it's a handmade card, so hopefully, especially with the watercolor technique we've got going on here. And then decide if you're going to do your card long ways or sideways. And I think this option is going to have me going sideways. Or, I'm sorry, vertical. So I'm just going to go through and push all this down. And I think we are good. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and grab my water, grab my this guy here, and I am going to grab just an acrylic block. You see me using that a lot, and I'm just going to take that and really get some ink there. You could also use refill if you'd like to do that. But let me just show you. We're going to take the water here, get that brush filled with some water. We're going to pick some of that up. And then we're just going to kind of go along here. You could do them all the same if you'd like, whatever you'd like. But you see, because it's not watercolor paper, I don't want to really use a lot of water. So I'm trying to go as little as possible. And then feel free if you want to wait. You just have to wait, actually. Well, you can just go like this. And it's just so pretty. And that Rococo Rose is just marvelous looking. But again, just going back and forth. Don't worry about where things are. We're just putting a light wash over it. And then we want to change colors. I'm going to just stick that in there. Again, I started with a lighter color, and then I'll go into the Highland Heather. And I kind of picked some with the hue that kind of all stays the same. And I'm going to grab my lifesaver, which is the baby wipes, and have that, because that is how we're going to just clean off those blocks and get that ready for that next color. And then we're going to take that, we're going to stick that in there, grab that Highland Heather color, and we're going to do this all again. So we're going to mix that water up really well, and we're just going to kind of go along, not worrying at all what's happening on the paper, because it is going to look marvelous regardless. Did I say that word already? It just is pretty. And then I think we're going to go down here a little bit. And don't feel like you can't go over other colors. You can. See that? So pretty. And I think I'm going to go and put this back in the Highland Heather. I am going to clean it off just in case there's any water. I don't want to water down my ink, even though it is dye-based. It works really well with water. I don't want to have water on my actual pad itself. But I want to pick up some of this water here and again get some more of those splatters. And what I'm trying to do is make sure that there is, all of that is covered, because we do want to have a nice white border when we lift that off. Okay. And we're just going to do that again. This time we're going to go with the Seaside Spray. Clean all that off. And get into that Seaside Spray. This is going to be a really light color, but that again is okay. This will be more of our wash. And I'm not going to put too much water on this first pass, because I want it to be a little bit darker there. anywhere that you have some white, feel free to, and it may not look like something you want right now, but trust me, it's going to be so pretty when we open this guy up. And you can see that this is starting to just form a nice little wash as the water is added. Oh, we don't have any there. I don't know what I was thinking. I'm going to go back in here because it is such a light color. Stick that down and get that water off again, and then we're going to go back again. And I'm really going to add a lot of water because I just want it at this point to be a nice wash. And you see how they all just go so pretty together. And I'll come back one more time. Maybe a couple more times once this wash wears off. Yeah, I think we got one more in us. Again, I'm going to take that water off. I know I keep saying it, but I gotta remind myself probably to do it more than anybody. I'm going to get this. And before I continue with the wash, I'm going to get some of that darker color. Now that I've got that in there, I can go through and add that as a wash. And again, I'm not worried at all about going over colors or anything like that because I think this is just going to be so pretty. All right, so we've got that done. I'm gonna clean that off. Clean my little inky fingers, make sure, because I don't want to push that anywhere. And this will set dry, so I'm going to just set that off to the side to dry for a bit. Now I've got all kinds of overspray on this, but that's okay. We're going to flip it. No, we're not. That's okay that I've got all kinds of overspray on it because it's going to go with the card anyways. So I'm going to take the Blackberry Bliss. He's screaming and yelling, isn't he? And I think I'm going to turn it this way. And we're just going to stamp that right down there. And it says, all of me loves all of you. Isn't that adorable? And I'm going to take this little guy and I'm going to put him right down there. And that is our inside. Open up our little card here. We're going to get our stamp and seal out. The more I use the stamp and seal, the more I love it. I was really, really weary at first. And look at that. Look at those little speckles. It's so pretty. I'm so glad that I did that. So you can opt to do that if you'd like. And that's the inside of our card. And I like to put a white inside in there because you can actually write on the white. If this is the inside of your card, there's nothing you can write on there, but look at how pretty that is. All right, let's go ahead, make sure the other is dry. And again, I didn't put a lot, so it is pretty dry there. And I'm going to put my ink away, but only for a moment. Also, baby wipes, you guys, get rid of so much. Took off that. So make sure you wipe everything down on there. Now we get to take these little guys off. And when we take them off, look at how pretty that is. And they can be used more than once if you'd like. And it's just so beautiful. Oh, that one stuck a little bit to the paper, so be very careful. This is the only one that I had an issue with, was in the little corner right here. But if you do have an issue like that, you could always just cut it down. All right. So now we've got that. Isn't that pretty? That would make a great scrapbooking page as well. So I'm going to come in here now with my Stampin' Trimmer. And I'm going to go right up the center. And knowing that 4 1/4 is right up the center. Let's see how good I got there. And then 5 1/2. I did not do so well on that one, but that, again, is okay, because we still need to put this down just a bit. All right, so I now have 4 different card bases, or card pieces, so I can just pick whatever one I'd like, and I really like this one here, so that's the one we're going to go with for today's card. But I have 3 other pieces that I could use again. So this is what I'm going to do. I want to cut this down, and using this trimmer, there's a little tiny ridge there, so I can line up that ridge. See, I'm going to cut that. You see that little ridge that came off? I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put that little ridge right here. And we're going to go all the way around with those little ridges. And then once I get those little ridges done, little ridges a little bit. Here we go. See that? Now I can put this right on my card. It's going to have my white border. It's going to have my Blackberry Bliss border. And look at how pretty that is. All right, let's stamp this card and get this attached. I'm going to get my Blackberry Bliss out. Get him all inked up really well. I'm going to bring that. I'm going to put this right here. We're just going to hold it there for a minute. Really let that ink set in, and it's a nice flat card. And that's so pretty. Look at that. And then I'm going to take my Always and Forever, and we're going to put that one in here as well. And then make sure that you don't rock it, because you don't want any halos. so adorable. So that is how I do my watercoloring. And then just for a little bit of glisten, I'm going to go with my Stella here. I'm just going to shake it up a little bit. And we're going to put a little bit of Stella on here. Now it's coloring up, but once it dries, it's going to be super pretty. It's pulling some of that color from that Blackberry Bliss and coloring that up. But especially when we put it on the flowers, oh my goodness, it's going to be so pretty. You see that? It's like its own little watercoloring in itself. And then I would suggest when you are doing this, do it in the shape of where the lines are coming from. You wouldn't want to just swirl around because you want to put those lines in a floral pattern. Just like that. You see the difference in the colors there? Now, if you don't want to do this Stella, you do not have to, but it adds just a brightness to the lines and then a nice glimmer to that floral as well. And you'll see. Super pretty. So we've got that, and of course we've got to add just a little bit of bling here. So I'm going in, and I'm going to grab, well, I was going to grab these because it's got all those beautiful colors, but I think we're just going to go, if I have them, if I do, there we go. We're just going to go with some pretty little rhinestones, and I'm gonna actually do this first. I'm gonna get it on there nice and flat before trying to put those dimensionals on. You know, sometimes I just stop right in the middle of a sentence. I do finally get there. It just takes a minute. Now, because this was wet, I am going to put some extra on here because I want it to lay nice and flat. And I'm going to push down. And then we're just going to add a few little rhinestones, probably about 5 of them will do. Look at how pretty this is. And again, I have 3 more ready to go. So I hope you like this. If you do, please give me a big thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. And then if you want written directions, just go to beautyandthestamper.com. I'll have them all written out for you in a free tutorial. All right, beauties, I hope you like it. If so, hit that like button. All right, I will talk to you again soon. Bye.